what was there and what Sri Rama has already decided. How can we become like Hanuman, just accepting the...
Follow the example of. How do you become? You follow the example of. So we're not Hanuman, but we can't become Hanuman because he's one of a kind. But we can follow the example of. You become the servant of those who you're trying to follow the example of. You follow in the footsteps of those who are exemplary personalities. No, he not only knew what Ram wanted, but the part that I said, I'll say it again, very lengthy, he pointed out where the other ideas were faulty, not to vilify or criticize, but just to show it doesn't hold water. They're not substantial because, and this, with all reason and logic, and so he pointed to, and they accepted those elders. They were his elders. They accepted his wisdom. Now, how do you get wisdom? That's how do you become Hanuman-like? Follow Hanuman. And what's the emblem of service? Anything. Service to Ram. We're all serving someone, but service to Ram, and service to Ram, and service to Ram. And he's still doing it. Ram said, stay behind. When it was time to leave, he told Hanuman, you stay behind and sing my glories. So that's what he does. Until the end of the universe, Hanuman's doing what Ram said. Follow the example. Okay.
Haribol Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaji. My question is basically, how can we respect those who harm others? Like if we see that they are tormenting people, like suppose Hitler and stuff.
I got it. The person that expressed to me this thing of forgiveness said they finally got it. Then shared this with me. And so there's the saying, you've heard the saying, I'm sure, hate the sin, not the sinner. The respect goes to the soul, not to the behavior. The behavior is not the person. The behavior has everything to do with the modes of nature, impelling someone to be this or that, to be kind or to be harsh, or to be, vicious, or whatever. So the behavior is one thing, the person is the other thing. So respect goes to the person, with the soul. And then, this is important. If you have an attitude, if you or I or any one of us have an attitude of respect, even for a person that's bad, there's the potency, the potential to elevate that person from the lower mode to a higher mode to the highest mode. That other person can be transformed if there's the principle of respect for the soul that's within. The potential of the soul to be Krishna's servant. And that, it doesn't negate the being able to discern this is to be done, this is not to be done. This is bad, this is hurtful, this is cruel, this is vicious. You can discern the behavior or the speech, what category it falls into, but that doesn't change the position of respect. When you start to think, let's just say it again a little bit more. When you start to think that way towards others, what happens? You have freedom. You have freedom in the quality of goodness. And when you have freedom in the quality of goodness, you have then the capacity to see options of how you can act or behave or speak to that person in a way that can be elevating them in the position of service to their consciousness. Now, in some cases, it's finishing them. I mean, that has to be done sometimes by Kshatriyas. But, in case we're not Kshatriyas, that option is for Kshatriyas. But we, even in that, the Kshatriya should be the well-wisher of that person. That, lift them from that lower to a higher position. Got it?
Yeah.
It's easier said than done, and it's to do it means getting free from the modes of nature, and we're our own conditioning, not their conditioning. The problem is not over there; it's over here. To bring about elevation of others, it's over here, not over there. Even a bad person.
Okay. Thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Okay. Yes, you have something online. Looks like.
This question is from Anusha Mataji. Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Is there any references on how Vibhishana maintained his position of devotion
Yeah.
irrespective of bad association he
Yeah.
had with his brothers
Yeah.
for a long time?
Yeah. Lal Gopal knows the answer. No, I'll give the answer. I'll give the answer. But he and I both know the answer. Two things. It's very simple. His father, before he became the father, before Vibhishan became the son, he foretold Kaikashi would have one son who would be virtuous. His words, the Brahmana's words, would become true because he spoke them. And the second is when all the three sons were born, they all underwent great austerity for long periods of time. The austerities of Vibhishan were very extensive. And Brahma came and asked what benediction you'd like. I'd like the benediction that I'll never depart from virtue. So it was granted. And there's more details. But the benediction of his father and the benediction of Lord Brahma, he was sustained and maintained by that. And he never departed from virtue. Even in the midst of, bad association and, Ravana as your brother, my God. He never departed. He was protected. Yes, online.
Yugalakishore Prabhu, how many minutes are remaining now? 5 minutes? Okay, Prabhu.
This is going to be our last question.
This is Amara Mataji's question.
Okay. Naperville.
From the
Part 2. She heard this already. Go ahead.
From the story of King Nriga, we understand that his intentions were not bad.
That's right.
And we also know that Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana
That's right.
and accepts our intentions. But we also hear that goodness is not good enough. How to understand these different aspects?
To understand different aspects, you need intelligence. And if you don't have intelligence, you're not going to understand different aspects. So how do you get intelligence? Super soul. And how do you get intelligence from super soul? Become purified. How do you get purified? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, etc. The process of bhakti, starting with hearing and chanting. So now, the different aspects Krishna is Bhava Grahi Janardana. He understands the intention, but he doesn't supersede. When if a Brahmana gives a curse, he doesn't supersede the Brahmana's curse. The Brahmana got upset. The Brahmana shouldn't do like what he did. You gave my cow to another Brahmana. I curse you. You become a lizard. Doesn't sound like a Brahmana. It sounds like somebody's lost it. But Krishna didn't interfere. He just made the course correction. And he demonstrated to everyone his Bhavagrahi Janardana. He lifted the lizard out of the well and transformed it back to the Brahmana that he was, wiser. The king, not the Brahmana that he was, the king. King, there you go. So Krishna, in one sense, Krishna's got a tough service. He has to, he sees upadrashta and he permits. But when somebody wants bad stuff, it's uncomfortable. How are you going to permit bad stuff? But people can't do bad stuff without permission. The sanction, upadrashta, anamanta. So there's consequences not to Krishna, but to the person who does bad stuff. And Krishna's like the sun, just shines. Krishna gives permission for us to be in the material world, even if it's not a nice place. He gives us lessons. It's not a nice place. And we still hang on in the material world. He's sanctioning misery. Why does he do that? Because we want it. We don't want the misery. We want the independent enjoyment program. That's what we want. But independent enjoyment has its consequences. So it's to learn. So that's how you balance these. That's her question. We're going to end. Thank you all for coming. And we'll see you again, maybe we'll see you again tomorrow evening for part 4. And the part 4 is same theme, Vaishnava etiquette demonstrated in Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata by exemplary persons. So the purpose of all of this, Scripture gives us light into this realm of darkness that we're situated. The material world is a realm of darkness. And particularly in Kali Yuga, it's dark. So the Srimad Bhagavatam and Mahabharata give us light in that realm of darkness, so we can know what real standards are. That's the purpose. So I hope you can come. If you can't, it's okay. It's all being, as far as I know, it's all being recorded. Yeah, so you can check it out later if you miss it. We'll see you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Shamkun Prabhu, yes, I think we have some questions from Friday, right?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
I just want those who ask the questions, I have one note. I'm just not sure whether it is Friday's or Thursday's question. So those who did ask on Friday, would you like to say it again? Or let me tell it differently here. There is one question by Sanatan Goparaj Prabhu. How do we identify something as karmic exchange or free will? Chinakesha Prabhu on when there are improper financial dealings or behavior, is it appropriate to discuss in family? Will it be disrespectful? Shweta Mataji's question, which was answered partially, when multiple times we are the recipient of bad behavior, what do we do? And then Saidanam Mataji's question was also partially, I think, was addressed by Kumarika Mataji. Forgiveness sometimes leads to fear of that can we be hurt again? Is this correct, Mataji's and Prabhus, or I missed it, writing it down, the actual questions on Friday?
My question is correct, Prabhu.
Yeah, mine also correct, bro. Correct, Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Free will also was there, Prabhu. In my
Huh?
question.
Pardon me?
Free will, karmic exchange and
Karmic,
free
yeah,
will.
correct. Free will.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Apart from these questions, anybody would like to say anything from today's class, please? Anything that resonated with them?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Today first question when class was started, when Prabhuji asked how to become a Hanuman, and Maharaj answered, we should follow the footsteps of Hanuman and service to the Ram. We have to take an example of Hanuman. In before classes also, Sugriva disrespects to Lakshmanaji. Immediately Hanuman arranged the seat for him. How much not curious, that mood. Always we have to serve to the Lord. So we should take an example when we are serving, when we are worshipping deities and senior Vaishnavas. We should be very conscious and eagerness should be there. That I understood, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So today one more, actually I had this question, how Vibhishana only got good, a mood where the other two not. So Prabhu, that here one question I had, why this his father wants to give the benediction to him in respect of other two? Before like Brahma, okay, after his austerity he did that, but how his father has shown that affection? Okay, Prabhu.
It's ye yatha mam prapadyante stham sathaiva bhajamyaham. Depending on one's mood, one gets the reciprocations again, depending on how one approaches the Supreme Lord too. So we have Pulasthi Rishi and others who are nice devotees of the Supreme Lord. And when somebody sees that, hey, here is a nice child who's doing tapasya, not for getting powers in this world, but for something else. Typically, such a father will say, yeah, I'm also doing tapasya, not for making myself prominent. And that father will like such a child also. That's
So this is this some like engaged? Probably it started it's after some years after his birth. He has given that benediction.
as soon as, like, very soon in their after their birth, the three brothers started doing tapasya. Very soon.
Oh, yeah, got it. Thank you.
So maybe I'll start with Sanatana Gopuraj Prabhu, our senior most devotee here. When something is happening to us, how do we know whether it is or something that we are doing? Is it a karmic exchange or free will? What we receive from the world around us is a karmic exchange in general. But it is also at the very, very same time, it is also meant to take it to relate us to the sweetness of Krishna. Somehow or the other, it's very subtle, but it happens simultaneously, and that's how Krishna's energy works. So in that, how we respond is our free will. Would you like to elaborate a little bit more, Sanatana Gopuraj Prabhu, of the question, so that either I or somebody else can add a little more to it?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. What I was mentioning is we should Actually, we should not blame the instrument. Okay, when the instrument does something to a person, whatever it does, is it due to karmic exchange or it is due to instrument's free will? Because if it is a karmic exchange, then we should thank that instrument that our karmic account is getting settled. But if it is due to the free will of the instrument, then it should be blamed. It should be blamed.
No, no,
And,
no, no, no,
yeah.
no, but no.
That is the way I put it. That is the way of, suppose somebody inflicts something on us, it may be due to karmic exchange between us. But if it is due to the instrument's free will, mischievous thing, if it is inflicted on us, we may not blame the, we may have to blame the instrument. That's what logically.
Oh. So
we don't know actually whether whatever the instrument does to us, is it due to karmic exchange or due to the free will of the instrument?
no, okay. Let me put it differently.
Yeah.
Suppose, say for example, person A kills person B.
Yeah.
Person A has to receive a karmic retribution or a karmic what do you call retribution equivalently as uh, a karmic outcome that he or she has to get.
Yeah.
Correct? It may not happen in this birth. It may happen in some births later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But whenever it happens, will it be the same person B who is going to come and take revenge or on person A? It may not be. So what happens is there will be person C who comes in here, possibly. So the retribution or the reaction that person A gets is karmic.
Yeah.
But what person C does is that Krishna says that, like say, person A has to be killed because he killed person B, he has to be killed again and experience what it means to be killed. Say it's that way. Then another person C who has a desire to kill will be given and an appropriate karma that there is a power to kill. That, like for example, a person C can be born as an ant, and an ant can bite. It cannot kill. But he can also be born as a human being who can kill. So he needs sufficient karmic credits that he has a desire, and with that desire, he can fulfill it. So C does it out of free will, A receives it out of karmic exchange. Both are happening simultaneously.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Very good.
And in your question is a very important aspect, which forms the foundation of some of the basic principles that we actually follow. The principle of not eating meat, no meat eating. If you go to the dharmic scriptures like the Manu Dharma Smriti, the Yagnivalkya Dharma Smriti, and other places too, you find that it is written, if you want to do a sacrifice of so and so, some so and so animal has to be sacrificed. But whenever you want to eat animal, the animal should be sacrificed in a yajna and then eaten. So is this free? Does this now give us license to kill animals? In that very same Dharma Smriti, after telling this, both Manu and Yagnivalkya say, and even in the Mahabharata, it says, better than offering animals is the offering of mantras, etc. The person who abstains from eating meat gets a much higher benefit than the person who makes a sacrifice of meat. So avoid meat at all cost. So on one hand, Shastra says this, the other hand, Shastra says that. Why? Because the Shastra wants us to exercise free will. So likewise, when somebody, doesn't behave with us well, we can come back and say, hey, I'm going to give you a tight slap. I'm going to retort in a particular way. But the examples that we get right from our scriptures is, by retorting, we are only extinguishing, in some cases, pious karma. That is one part of it there. But the other problem is, we want ourselves to be the controller of karmic reactions. And we are not allowing material energy to do it. Krishna can allow the material energy to do it, or we also can do it. But when something, a personal affront happens to us, the more we depend on Krishna taking care of it, the more our consciousness gets elevated. And that is where the dependence happens. But this doesn't mean that when there is injustice prevailing around, we keep quiet. That is why it is said, we usually look at injustice from the lens of others. In other words, if injustice is done to oneself, then one tries to help and protect others. When injustice is done to us, we definitely need to consult others and see, should I take a step or should I keep quiet? I mean, there could be some injustice, like somebody has cheated us of some money. We can take some steps there. But if somebody hits us, should I go back and hit him? Should I go back and kill another person? These things we have to be very, very cautious of. Kumarika Mataji, you might have something to add here. Please.
No, Prabhu, I've got something to ask you. Actually, in a case of an initiated devotee, is it always karmic exchange, whatever happens to us, or is it Krishna's intervention to make us become aware of some anartha or to make us progress further? Because I'm confused. Sometimes where we have to face whatever comes to us is, yes, I deserve it because it is my karma. Or is it the hand of Krishna? Because in this point, I always have confusion.
I think the latent point or the hidden point in your question is that at the time of initiation, all the karmas are taken, all the reactions of all the past karmas are taken away. Then how come there can be any other reaction? Is that
Yes,
is that?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. 2 points here. It very much depends upon the sincerity at which a person is willing to fully surrender at the time of initiation. Very rarely we find somebody who is fully surrendered. And therefore, the extent of which the past karmas are removed is also proportional to it. Number one. Number two, even if the sincerity were to be very high, it is said that every moment we are creating reactions for which we have to take 6 births. So how we practice after initiation also matters. So that is another aspect, Mataji. Both of these are there. So most likely we all are still facing the reactions for past births. I'll give you an example from not from our tradition, but from a different tradition altogether. It is from the Shankara Sampradaya. There was a very great saint called Vidyaranya. He and his brother, I think his brother's name was Madhava, they both took sannyas, and they both played a great role in the Vijayanagar Empire also. And if you go to Sringeri today, you find a big temple. It's called the Vidya Shankara temple that was built by Vidyaranya in memory of his guru, actually. Yeah, that is a defining temple in Sringeri these days. But when he was young, this Vidyaranya was very poor. And he was quite learned too. So he did this Gayatri mantra recitation. He recited many times, and yet nothing happened. Then he decided there is nothing happening here, and so he said, "I'll take up sannyas because he was so poor, and he thought, at least let me get a little money. Gayatri Devi will come and give me a little money." And it was nothing happened as such. After he what you call took sannyas, and he again continued his Gayatri mantra, the personification of Gayatri Devi came and showed herself to him. And then this Vidyaranya said, "Oh Devi, thank you very much for giving me your darshan. But if you had come when I had prayed to you when I had not yet taken sannyas, I would have at least got some money. But you have come now. What is the use? I'm anyway chanting your mantra. So then Gayatri Devi said, just turn behind and look. And Vidyaranya saw mountains of there are big mountains which were burning. And he asked, what are these mountains? I don't see that. I didn't see them before before you came here. So she said, those are the mountains of your sins that have been burnt. It required so many mountains of sins to be burnt, and only then I could make my appearance to you. It's not that the mantra is not effective, but you had that many mountains of sin. My own case was something similar, Mataji. That's what I wanted to say. Would you like to add something more, Mataji?
No, Prabhu, thank you very much for clarifying. This doubt was in my mind since a long time. I hear this part and that controversial, another argument. In different churches, I hear different things. So thank you very much for clarifying that.
And just to add a little bit more, most of us receive initiation because we are products of mercy. We are not qualified enough to receive, and yet we receive. For those to whom the sin goes away completely, they would have ideally been very, very well trained in items of things like this Vaishnava etiquette, Vaishnava respect, etc. But most of us fail even at the stage that, can I be honest to my Guru on everything? Or can I be honest to some representative of Guru? Is the Guru my life and soul? Do we come to that stage and take initiation? That I do not want anything else other than going back to Godhead, and I am going to hold the dress or the instructions or the feet of my spiritual master, and nothing else other than that. Are we there? Most of us are quite attached to our habits, to our desires for various things. And that makes it that the previous sinful tendencies are not gone fully. When the mantra is chanted well, even before initiation, when the mantra is chanted well, it will lead to transformation in character. It will lead to a bestowal of realization from the mantra personified. Rather than karmic reactions, etc., these are better indicators, which is I am more confident in my relationship. I can be whatever I am. I can ask. I may have whatever thoughts in my mind or ideas about what is right and what is wrong, but whatever the Guru wants, I am ready to do it. I may have $1 million or $1 billion in bank account, but I am dependent on this devotee in my life. These are the kind of things which should be in the consciousness of an individual for initiation to work. And it may not happen on that day. It may take some time. That's okay. Whenever it happens, because initiation is just a beginning. Shankar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, and Hare Krishna to all devotees, Dandavat Pranam. This is my second session which I am attending after taking shelter under the Guru Maharaj. So, since we are discussing on the karmic reactions and all, recently I happened to see a video on one of the WhatsApp group wherein it was being discussed that like we believe that Mother Ganges washes away of all of our sins when we take a holy dip. But it was also further explained that for a moment we can assume that okay, Mother Ganges washes away all our sins and all when we take a holiday. All those waters go and join into some ocean, and through the precipitation process, those gets evaporated into the sky as clouds and eventually fall down as rain, and eventually we end up drinking the same water. So those karmic reactions come back to us in some form or the other. So that had some impact on my mind.
That is
So wanted.
that is a totally bogus idea, Prabhu. Whoever is saying that is trying to rationalize spirituality with science. And there are many people who do such foolish rationalizations. Is sin something gross like the Panchabhutas, earth? I mean, Ganga Devi is water. And when the sun acts on the water, I mean, like sun rays fall on water, either on the river or on the sea, does it mean that the sun absorbs the water element, it becomes evaporated, it becomes cloud, and again it comes? But is sin such a gross element? No, it's not that way. It doesn't work like this. This is, I mean, that there are many such examples of people trying to uh, rationalize science and spirituality. Please don't fall prey to it.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
And also, Prabhu, this also means to say that there is no point going to that. So there is also some hidden agenda of demonizing the Vedic spiritual practices. Because now when you put into science and say this is all final, it is coming to me, what is the use of that? And the river seems to be very dirty there. And all those things are just to drive away from the fundamental points of respecting the mother Ganges. That is being destroyed here. That is the whole point here. This another thought of there. So this is all scientifically proving the spiritual aspects. It's as Shyam Prabhu said, it's a very dangerous endeavor.
And
Noted, Prabhuji.
I'll just add one more thing. It's like, say, the previous discussion, I'll just relate that to this. Suppose somebody is taking, say, Diksha. During time of Diksha, they take rice and barley soaked in ghee and offer it into the fire. It is said that all our sins, as we put it, it burns in the fire. So does it mean that once I take the sin out, somebody else is going to receive it? No. Usually, it is by the strength of his or her devotional service, the Acharya, who he or she, whoever it may be, makes a petition to the Supreme Lord, and this sin just vanishes. Just like the example of Vidyaranya and Mother Gayatri saying, by your chanting, the mountains of sins burnt. It is not that it went to somebody else, right? And it happens even now when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Sin burns because what is sin? That has to be understood carefully. Sin is forgetfulness of Krishna. When we chant a mantra for Krishna, then we are enhancing our remembrance of Krishna. Automatically, forgetfulness of Krishna goes. It is because of the forgetfulness of Krishna that we end up acting in a way to establish our continued presence in this material world, that I depend on the external energy of the Supreme Lord. I want a nice building, I want a nice job, I want money. But when we chant the holy name, we say that I may or I may not have any of these, but my relationship with Krishna is important. That is what is the actual meaning of sin, that our focus changes.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Maybe the other question some other day, and we'll, or not, maybe tomorrow itself. I hope you don't mind. It's 7:10. We'll take some more time to speak on the others. And today is Monday. Shall we end here? Yogala Kishore Prabhu?
Yes, bro. I think 7:10. So we have Chennakeshwar Prabhu's question and Sweta Mataji's question. So we'll discuss tomorrow. Thank you very much, devotees. Hare Krishna will end here.
Thank you.